Haunting, LGBTQIA+ version, by Floral One Right One Tales. The LGBTQIA+ Society room buzzed with the familiar energy of its members, a safe haven they had built together over the years. Sunlight filtered through the windows, casting warm hues across the cozy space. Lacy sat cross-legged in her usual chair, exuding an air of quiet confidence. She had been the first to join the society back in their first year, openly and proudly lesbian since she was 16. Next to her, Remington, Rem, as they preferred, leaned forward with an animated expression. Non-binary and unapologetically themselves, they had always been vocal about their identity, favoring relationships with women and other non-binary individuals assigned female at birth. Their presence was a cornerstone of the group, always offering insight with a touch of humor. Across from them, Chase lounged comfortably, a perpetual smirk on his lips. He had yet to settle on a specific label, oscillating between bisexual, pansexual, or simply leaving it undefined. He often joked, "Labels are like socks. I change them depending on my mood." Rem chuckled at the familiar line, shaking their head. Meanwhile, Hayes, the last of their tight-knit quartet, crossed his arms with an amused expression. Though he had joined later than the others, he had quickly become one of the most beloved members. Openly gay and dramatically charismatic, he was the reason their events were never dull. Guilty as charged, Hayes quipped when someone pointed it out. Now, in their third year, the four of them were inseparable, surrounded by a growing community that had expanded to 30 members. Their latest endeavor, planning a pride ball, a night designed for matchmaking, celebration, and as Rem put it, a little bit of good old-fashioned queer chaos. Rem clapped their hands together, eyes gleaming. "Can we talk about how iconic this ball is going to be?" Lacy arched a skeptical brow. "It better be, after all the emails we sent. If I get one more passive-aggressive reply from admin." Chase let out a laugh. "You mean that this isn't technically a university-sponsored event nonsense?" "Classic," Hayes scoffed. "As if the straight socials don't drain way more funding for their mediocre bar crawls." "Exactly," Rem exclaimed. "Anyway, the Pride Ball isn't just iconic, it's revolutionary. Picture this: queer love, glitter, and matchmaking. And drama," Lacy added knowingly. "There's always drama." Hayes flipped his hair with a smirk. "Well, duh. What's a pride ball without a few accidental love triangles?" Chase leaned back, suddenly thoughtful. "I mean, what if this event finally helps me figure out my whole label situation?" Rem shot him a look, smirking. "Chase, your label is hot mess in progress. Own it." Chase chuckled, conceding. "Fair." With only a week until the Pride Ball, anticipation crackled in the air. Between the planning, the excitement, and the inevitable chaos, one thing was certain: it was going to be a night to remember. Rem raised their glass of iced coffee in an impromptu toast. "Here's to love, chaos, and the gayest night of the year." Lacy, Hayes, and Chase joined in, laughter filling the room as they clinked their drinks together. The countdown to the Pride Ball had officially begun. The gym had been utterly transformed. Blue neon lights bathed the space in an ethereal glow, bouncing off the glittering decorations that shimmered like stardust. The air buzzed with music, excitement, and just a little bit of queer magic. Couples and friends swayed together in slow, rhythmic movements, the energy shifting between elegance and unfiltered joy. Lacy stepped through the entrance, eyes wide with admiration. "Okay, this is next-level gorgeous. Props to whoever picked the neon theme." "Right." Rem grinned, scanning the scene. "It's giving inclusive rave meets elegance, and I'm obsessed." Chase smirked. "All I'm saying is, if no one slow dances under that disco ball, I'll personally start a petition." Hayes let out a soft laugh, twirling slightly to show off his outfit. "I'll sign it. Slow dancing is a whole vibe. Plus, I look amazing twirling under neon lights." Rem rolled her eyes fondly. You mean, you look amazing all the time. Hay shot them a playful wink. Guilty as charged. Lacy crossed her arms, amused. All right, enough self-love for now. Let's find the punch table before Hayes starts spinning in circles. Chase laughed, already moving forward. And I call dibs on the first dance. Rem hesitated. Wait, are we actually dancing? Because I need at least 3 minutes to mentally prepare. Hayes gasped in mock horror. Rem, it's a pride ball. Dancing is mandatory. Glitter is optional but highly recommended. Fine, Rem sighed. But if anyone steps on my shoes, I'm leaving. Lacy chuckled. Fair enough. Let's make a pact. No awkward dancing, no weird drama, and no leaving early unless it's for tacos. Chase grinned. Deal. But let's be real. We're staying for the drama. And the matchmaking. Hayes' eyes gleamed mischievously. Trust me, I've got my eyes on a few cuties already. Rem shot him a knowing look. You better not cause chaos, at least not before the first dance. Lacy smirked. No promises. As they stepped fully into the ballroom, the music swelled, wrapping around them in a melody of hope, anticipation, and romance. The night had truly begun. Love, laughter, and just a little bit of drama awaited them. Lacy turned to the others, hands on her hips. So, we're all just standing here when there's a whole dance floor of possibilities waiting. Rem shrugged. Fair point. But honestly, I'm not great at making the first move. Chase grinned, tilting his head towards the swirling mass of dancers. Then it's a good thing the first move is about to come to us. Come on, Rem, Chase urged, a playful grin tugging at the corner of his lips. This is the Pride Ball. If there's ever a night to take a chance, it's tonight. Hay shot him a knowing look, arms crossed. Says the person who's been debating between pansexual and bisexual for years. Chase shrugged, unfazed. Hey, I'm complex. Let's focus on dancing instead of labels, okay? Lacy clapped her hands together, commanding their attention. All right, I say we split up. Find someone you vibe with. Worst case scenario, we regroup and dance as a squad. Best case, a magical moment under the neon lights. Rem let out a dramatic sigh. Fine, but if I end up slow dancing with a houseplant, I'm blaming you, Lacy. Hayes chuckled. You're not slow dancing with a houseplant, Remington. But if you find a cute plant owner, that's fair game. Chase straightened his jacket and ran a hand through his hair. All right, folks, scatter. Love isn't going to find us if we just stand here looking pretty. Lacy grinned, the excitement thrumming in her chest. Let's do this. And with that, the group broke apart, each heading in a different direction, ready to embrace whatever, or whoever, the night had in store. Okay, Lacy, this was a great idea in theory, she thought. But now I'm just standing here, alone, awkwardly. Her fingers fidgeted at her side as the thought dug in deeper. What if everyone else was already out there, laughing and dancing, while she just stood frozen in place like a total dork? I should have just stayed with them. Safety in numbers, right? She sighed. Ugh, get it together, Lacy. You're supposed to be confident. Taking a slow breath, she straightened her posture. All right, no more overthinking. If I want this to be a night to remember, I need to make the first move. Let's do this. Before she could figure out what this actually was, a voice broke through her thoughts. Hey, a smooth, flirtatious tone called out. I couldn't help but notice you standing here. Lacy turned, her breath catching slightly as she took in the girl in front of her. She was effortlessly cool, sleek hair, an easy smirk, and a spark of mischief in her eyes. Mind if I ask, do you dance with women? Lacy blinked, momentarily startled, then let out a small laugh. I do, actually. I'm a lesbian. My name's Lacy. The girl's face lit up. Really? Me too. Guess the Pride Ball knows how to bring people together. She extended a hand. And I'm Suki. Lacy shook her hand, her lips curling into a playful smile. I'm sensing there's more to this question. Or do you just go around polling the dance floor? Suki grinned. What can I say? I've got a type. Oh. Lacy raised an eyebrow. And what's that? Confident, slightly awkward women who look like they'd rather be anywhere else until someone charming comes along. Lacy laughed, the tension in her shoulders easing. Well, you've got my attention. What's your next move, smooth talker? Suki tilted her head slightly, pretending to consider it. How about this? Would you care to dance? Lacy crossed her arms. Depends. Are you a good dancer? Suki smirked. Good enough to make you forget how awkward standing here felt. Lacy bit her lip, her heartbeat picking up slightly. All right, Suki. Let's see if you can live up to the hype. Suki took her hand, guiding her onto the dance floor. As they began to sway together under the blue neon lights, Lacy felt the awkwardness melt away. Suki's confidence, paired with her playful humor, made the moment feel effortless. Maybe splitting up from her friends wasn't such a bad idea after all. There's something about her that's magnetic. Suki's touch was light but steady, her movements smooth and unhurried. She carried herself with such ease, confident but not overbearing. And her eyes, there was something in them, something warm and playful, but also undeniably kind. Lacy had never been good at this, putting herself out there. But with Suki, she just might want to try. Chapter 2. Paris stood in the center of the ballroom, exuding a confidence that made her seem untouchable. Her sharp eyes swept across the room, taking in the details with a curious, almost analytical air. The music pulsed around her, the glittering lights reflecting off the dance floor, but she remained still, observing, waiting. From across the room, Chase spotted her and made his way over, weaving through the crowd with an easy stride. As he approached, he offered a friendly smile, his voice light with a hint of nervousness. "Hey, I'm Chase," he said, shifting his weight slightly. "Do you, dance with guys?" Paris let out a soft chuckle, crossing her arms as she studied him for a moment. There was something endearing about his approach. "Hi, Chase. I'm Paris," she said smoothly. "Yeah, I'm straight, so I definitely dance with guys." Her confident tone held no hesitation, and for the first time that night, she let herself relax just a little. Maybe this evening was about to get a lot more interesting. Paris shifted her weight slightly, arms crossed as she glanced around the ballroom. Chase watched her with a quiet admiration, a soft smile lingering on his lips before he settled into a relaxed stance. "But if I'm being honest," Paris began, her voice thoughtful, "I've always had this fascination with the LGBTQIA+ community. For a while, I even thought I might fit somewhere in it." Chase gave an encouraging nod, listening attentively. "I've always been a bit odd, I guess," she continued, her fingers tapping lightly against her arm. "Never really clicked with the normal stuff society expects from people. So, I figured, hey, maybe I'm one of the letters." A small chuckle escaped her lips before she rubbed the back of her neck, her expression shifting into something almost sheepish. "But after some soul-searching, I realized I'm just a quirky, straight girl. Still, I've always felt drawn to the energy of people who embrace being different." Chase let out a laugh. "Perfect, because I'm basically the definition of quirky. Oh, and I'm bi, or maybe pan. I haven't exactly decided yet." Paris grinned, amusement dancing in her eyes. "Well, no rush on that. Labels are just labels, right? What matters is being true to yourself." Chase smirked, tilting his head slightly as he studied her. "Speaking of being true to yourself, you've got this whole vibe going on that's totally working for you." A hint of pink crept up Paris' cheeks. She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, her voice softening. "Thanks. But just so you know, I'm coming off a toxic relationship, so I'm cautiously dipping my toes back into the dating pool." Chase nodded, his expression understanding. "No pressure." But how about we start with something simple, like a slow dance? Paris tapped her chin, pretending to think it over before flashing him a playful smile. Tempting. All right, Chase, let's see if your quirky energy matches mine on the dance floor. Chase grinned, triumphant. Now that's what I like to hear. With a laugh, Paris took his hand, and together they stepped onto the dance floor. The music swelled around them as they moved in sync, two unique souls spinning their way into something unexpected. The dim lighting across the makeshift gym ballroom, casting a soft glow over the couples swaying to the music. Tegan stood quietly at the edge of the dance floor, shifting her weight slightly as she observed the scene. She wasn't one to stand out, but even in her silence, she wasn't unnoticed. From across the room, Rem spotted her. With a deep breath, they stepped forward, making their way toward her. Hi! Rem's voice carried a hint of nervousness as they stopped in front of her. I'm Remington. I'm non-binary. Do you, dance with non-binary people? They scratched the back of their neck, shifting awkwardly. Tegan blinked, momentarily surprised by the directness of the question. Then, a soft blush dusted her cheeks. Hey, Remington. I'm Tegan, she said, offering a small smile. And, well, I'm a lesbian. Rem nodded, their fingers twitching slightly as they fidgeted. Tegan tilted her head, studying them for a moment before adding, but I'm open to non-binary people. It really just depends if we connect. Rem exhaled, nodding again. Okay, cool. That's good to know. A giggle escaped Tegan's lips, and she crossed her arms playfully. Relax, you're doing fine. Do you usually introduce yourself with a whole vibe check? Rem chuckled, shaking their head. Only when the person I'm talking to is so effortlessly cool that I'm completely out of my depth. Tegan felt warmth spread through her chest at the unexpected compliment. She raised an eyebrow. Well, look at you, pulling out the charm. Is this your signature move? Rem smirked, a glint of mischief in their eyes. Depends. Is it working? Tegan laughed, the tension between them melting into something lighter. I'll let you know after you show me your dance moves. Rem grinned, their confidence growing. Challenge accepted. Shall we? With an amused shake of her head, Tegan took their hand, and together they stepped onto the dance floor. The music wrapped around them as they moved in sync, their slow steps weaving a quiet understanding between them. What started as shy glances turned into something more, something unspoken but deeply felt. As they swayed to the rhythm, the world around them seemed to fade. In that moment, it wasn't just a dance. It was the beginning of something unexpected, something real. The gym buzzed with music and movement, the makeshift ballroom alive with energy. In the center of it all stood Kip, radiating confidence as he danced without a care. There was something about the way he carried himself, like he belonged here, like he owned the space. His infectious charm was impossible to ignore, and Hayes certainly wasn't immune to it. As Kip transitioned into another carefree move, Hayes took a breath and made his way across the room. He wasn't the type to overthink things, but something about Kip's presence pulled him in. Hey there! Hayes greeted with a smirk, stopping in front of Kip. Are you a fellow gay like me? Kip turned to him, amusement flashing in his eyes before he shot Hayes a playful wink. A chuckle escaped his lips as he tilted his head. What gave it away? The confidence, or the fact that I'm standing here like I own the place? Hayes laughed, shaking his head. A little bit of both. You've got the whole unapologetically fabulous thing going on. Kip grinned. And you've got the adorably flustered yet trying to be suave thing down to an art. Hayes felt heat creep up his neck, but he couldn't help but laugh at the accuracy of the observation. Wow, you've known me for all of 2 seconds, and you already see right through me. He extended a hand. I'm Hayes, by the way. Kip took the handshake, his grip firm but light. Nice to meet you, Hayes. I'm Kip. Well, Kip, Hayes said, a glint of mischief in his eyes. "How about we take all this charm and confidence to the dance floor?" Kip tapped his chin, pretending to consider the offer. Let me think about that." His lips curved into a smirk. "Okay, but only if you promise not to step on my toes." Hayes laughed. "Deal. I'll try not to embarrass myself too much." With an easy grin, Kip took his hand, and together they stepped onto the dance floor. As they swayed to the rhythm, the playful banter softened into something warmer. Kip's confidence blended effortlessly with Hayes' charm, and what started as laughter turned into quiet smiles. The world around them blurred, leaving just the two of them in their own rhythm, their own connection. At that moment, it wasn't just about the dance. It was about something new, something that felt easy, effortless, and real. The morning after the Pride Ball felt surreal, like waking from the most vibrant dream. The air still carried a lingering hum of the previous night's excitement, and the friends, buzzing with stories, gathered at their favorite cafe, a cozy corner of familiarity, to piece together the night and share the details they'd been bursting to spill. Lacy, seated with her hands wrapped around a warm cup of coffee, was the first to speak. A soft blush crept up her cheeks as she spoke about Suki. "She made me feel seen," Lacy admitted, her voice almost dreamy, "in a way no one ever has. Bold yet soft, like I was exactly where I needed to be." It was clear she was still figuring out what came next, but the glow on her face said enough. She was willing to find out. Rem grinned, unable to contain their excitement. "Tegan was incredible," they said, their hands animated as they spoke. "Funny, confident, but grounded. She just gets it." Being around her felt easy. There was something in their tone, a vulnerability that hadn't been there before. "It wasn't just about the dance," Rem added, softer now. "It was the way she made me feel safe. I don't think I realized how much I needed that." Hayes, ever the charmer, leaned back in his seat with a smirk. "Oh, I'm not going to downplay this," he said, shooting a glance around the table. Kip was, he paused for dramatic effect, confident, funny, and unapologetically himself. A chorus of laughter followed. "I admire how he owns every room he steps into," Hayes continued, "but somehow still made me feel like I was the center of his attention." Chase chuckled, running a hand through his hair. All right, my turn. Paris!" He let out a laugh. "She's quirky, endearingly odd, and honestly, I have no idea where things are going." He shrugged. "She just got out of a rough relationship. I don't mind waiting, seeing where things go." Hayes smirked, setting his cup down. "All right, I'll start. So," he shot a mischievous look at them, "I may have hooked up with Kip last night." Chase let out a bark of laughter. Lacy nearly choked on her drink, and Rem's eyes widened in surprise. "What?" Lacy gasped, shaking her head. "Hayes, you didn't waste any time." Hayes winked. "What can I say? Kip's got this energy. It's impossible to resist." Rem leaned forward. "Okay, but is this just a hookup, or is there more?" Hayes exhaled, playing it cool. "Let's just say, I'm curious to see where it goes." Chase grinned, unable to hold back his own confession. "All right, fine. Paris and I might have, had a little fun last night, too." Lacy arched an eyebrow. "Little fun? Chase, spill." Chase laughed, raising his hands in surrender. Okay. We hooked up. But it's not just that. I actually have a date with her coming up." Hayes grinned. "Ooh, Chase has a date." Chase rubbed the back of his neck, looking almost sheepish. "She's quirky in the best way. It's like she sees the world upside down but somehow makes it look normal." Rem and Lacy exchanged knowing looks before laughing. "Speaking of dates," Rem added, their grin widening, "Tegan and I are going out soon." Lacy leaned in, intrigued. "Really? That's amazing. What are you two doing?" Rem shrugged, but the excitement was evident. "Keeping it simple. A coffee date, just to see how we vibe outside of last night." Hayes nodded approvingly. Vibe check approved. Tegan seems great. Chase turned his attention to Lacy, a playful smirk forming. And what about you? Don't think you're getting out of this conversation. Lacy sighed, but a smile crept onto her face. Fine, fine. Suki and I have a date too. A cheer erupted from the group, their excitement tangible. Look at us. Rem beamed. From awkward dancing to actual dates. Lacy chuckled, a fond look settling in her eyes. She's amazing. I don't know what's next, but I'm excited to find out. They sat there, wrapped in the warmth of shared stories and the thrill of new beginnings, unaware that their world was about to shift in ways they never saw coming.